Hello and welcome to interest.co.nz. I'm Janae Tibshirani and today I'm joined by Treasury Secretary Gabriel Makhlouf for one of our double shot interviews. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Makhlouf.
Good morning.
Today I'm going to talk about housing. I'm just wondering what is, if you can clarify for us, Treasury's view on that, and what Treasury believes its role is in terms of advising the government on what to do to address this issue.
Sure. I mean, firstly, just as a general thing, because I've just come back from a trip overseas where I talked to my opposite numbers in the UK, in Canada, in Ireland, in Australia. And all of us were reporting issues similar to the Auckland housing issue that you just described. So in Ireland it's in Dublin, and in Canada it's in Vancouver, in Australia it's in Sydney. And in the UK it's in London and the southeast, and partly what's happening around the world is a combination of people want to live in attractive cities, and we haven't actually built enough houses for people to live in Auckland. The monetary policy being where it is, it's actually quite affordable to buy a house. So our advice to the government, which is it's on the record, essentially, and I spoke about it in a speech I gave a couple of months ago. Firstly, it's fundamentally a supply problem.
Yes.
Right, there's fundamentally a supply problem, and we've got to do everything we can to make sure that supply is happening. And so there's been a huge focus on making sure the planning system works appropriately. And the unitary plan in Auckland is a very significant step forward, a very significant event, because it sets a sort of direction which the market, you would expect, will respond to. And that's what we continue to sort of get the government to focus on. The government's got quite a wide-ranging program of activity. It's got its, it's had its housing accord with the council. It's looking itself to use spare land that it's got, or Housing New Zealand, as was announced just last week or in the last 10 days, the development in Northcote. And we're involved in supporting advice around all of these areas. So, just to wrap, really, we are, we're supporting the government and address what are some pretty fundamental issues that have blocked the supply of housing in Auckland.
Do you think the government should be doing more? I mean, we've been in the situation where there's been a bit of toing and froing between the government and Auckland Council, saying who's actually responsible for this or who has more responsibility in this. Do you think the government could be doing more? Because while interest rates are low, so getting a mortgage is cheap, house prices are still unbelievably high and just keep climbing.
I don't think the government, to be honest, I think the government is doing, actually the important thing is that there's no silver bullet. Nothing is going to happen quickly here. This is a problem that's taken quite a few years to accumulate, and to think that we can suddenly create thousands upon thousands of houses in the blink of an eye is just not going to happen.
Sure.
So I think people underestimate the amount of activity going on if they think that not enough is being done.
So you think the government is doing enough?
Well, I do think the government's doing enough, actually, but fundamentally, and this is really important, I think the responsibility, and this is what I was saying in my speech a couple of months ago, the responsibility starts with the local community. It absolutely starts with the local community, and expecting the government to fix the problems is a mistake. The government's got a role to play, but at the end of the day, the local community and that's through the council, and the unitary plan needs to set a direction and needs to decide for itself that, we're going to have more houses. Auckland's going to grow. We've got to accommodate these people. And there's no point in saying we don't want it to happen, or it's going to be fixed by Wellington, because that's wrong. And I'm delighted as to where the council itself has taken the unitary plan. I mean, I think that's great. But it would be a mistake to just assume that it's all the governments. It's the government who has to fix all this. The government's certainly got a role to play, because as the Productivity Commission indicated in the report it put together a while ago, NIMBYism has been a problem. And so Auckland has obviously felt itself slightly paralysed with that. But fortunately, the council has seen its way through that, which has been great.
Okay. But I mean, for people in Auckland, they might not be that comfortable with central government saying a lot of it lies with the local community, because Wellington makes laws, for example, around migration, which encourages people to come to New Zealand, and I mean for a number of good reasons. But the population, the demand for housing has gone up. There's a lack of supply. So we have central government policies which are affecting the country, and Auckland in particular. Auckland is kind of is really affected by it. So surely, if we've got central government policies affecting a region like Auckland, then central government does need to take some responsibility. And also local, I mean, it's a funding issue too.
Well, and it has done.
Yeah.
Central government has taken responsibility. It's the government has put more money into schools and health to just accommodate the fact the population has grown. Did that in the budget, so it recognises that. But Aucklanders and Auckland want Auckland to become prosperous.
Yes.
And prosperity means that certain things have to happen. So one has to accept, if the population is going to grow, which is connected to prosperity, then there are some decisions at the moment. In the way the system works in New Zealand, that's the local community's responsibility to pick. As I was indicating earlier about the immigration point and population growth, at the end of the day, the numbers of people who are coming in are partly a feature of visa rules, but they're also a feature of that we'd like to promote our universities as being, world ranking, and we want to attract overseas students here. So that's a big chunk of immigration numbers, and obviously students need to live somewhere. And there are lots of New Zealanders coming back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I don't think anyone, at the moment is seeing that as a particular problem. We're actually pleased that New Zealanders are coming back, but they're putting pressure on the Auckland housing market.
Yes.
But I think the Auckland Council's decision on the unitary plan, the work the government's been doing with housing accords, with actually promoting or looking to develop the land that it owns. I think lots of change is happening. We can see that in the GDP activity. Construction activity. Is extremely high. Yes. So things are happening, but they're just going to take time to finish.
Sure. Okay. Finally, Mr. Makhlouf, do you think house prices need to come down?
I think at the moment, I do think house prices are extremely high. What I'm concerned about is, in some respects, is less the house price, but the amount of debt and leverage that people have taken out. Which creates a risk to the stability of the financial system, and the Reserve Bank's on the case on that, but that is a concern. And certainly, I think at the moment, the level of house prices, and it's the same issue, incidentally, in all those cities around the world that I was talking about, is too high, and we're only really going to address that by building more houses.
Okay, and do you still think they need to come down when the average house price in Auckland is $1 million? Do you think that needs to be lower?
Well, over time, it's the ratio of income to house prices. That's the issue. And over time, as incomes rise and as greater supply of housing comes in, that ratio will get smaller.
So currently it's about 1 to 10 at the moment. What would you like to see it go down to?
No, look, I mean, I don't think there's a magic number. I mean, historically, it used to be, and I'm talking about 30 years, it used to be 1 to 3. And, we know that getting it to, I think Auckland Council did some work that said getting it to 1 to 5 would take, I don't know how many, a long time. But attractive cities, whether they're Vancouver or London, Sydney or Auckland, attract people to live in them. And that means that the demand for accommodation goes up.
Yes.
And we need to be in a position where our markets can respond quickly enough to accommodate those people.
Okay.
I mean, if we want to grow, if we want to become prosperous, if we want to live in a vibrant city, then we need to address these issues. The great thing is that the unitary plan has addressed those issues and is pointing Auckland in the right direction. It's just going to take time to deliver.
Sure. Okay, well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. And I'm Janae Tibbs-Shirani from interest.co.nz.